Okay, so let's dress a plate real quick. I had some folks asking about the dressing up the plate, getting ready to sharpen. So I'll go through that process real quick. This is H42, just straight H42 right out of the bottle, and I'm going to squirt this on. This poor machine needs to be cleaned so badly, but I haven't had a chance to stop over the last week or so and do any real cleanup work. I figured maybe this weekend I'll have a chance to get caught up and get my machine cleaned back up. Okay, first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to remove all of the spent grit that's in place on the wheel. I usually start with just a slide like so. I'm just going to get all this old stuff off of here, man. Pretty simple situation. I'm looking for no dark spots when I get done. I don't add any more H42. I just clean it until that is the surface of the plate looks clean. Get most of the grit out of there. That's clean for me, or clean enough. It still has a little bit of a oily feel to it, but I got all of the, or most of the spent grit off of there. This is just straight lard oil. Actually, it has a little bit of H42 in it to thin it out just a smidge. I think this is straight lard oil because it's almost 100 degrees here, ambient temperature. As it gets colder outside, I'll add more H42 to this to make the mixture not quite as thick, so that when I apply it on the wheel, it's not quite as syrupy. But I like it kind of syrupy. What I'm going to do is just make a little squiggly like this. Some guys put a little dot, some whatever. I'm just going to do my way. I just make a little squiggly all the way around the plate like so. Then I'm going to take my blue towel again, fold it in half, and I'm just going to work this all the way in. I'm going to do one push all the way around like this, and then I'm going to rub all of this into the plate. And all I'm doing is, basically I'm removing all of this oil, is what I'm doing. But what is left after I do this procedure here is a shiny, glossy, it's not oily, but it has a sheen of oil on it, okay? And that's all that it takes to hold the grit to the plate while we're sharpening. All right, now next thing I'm gonna do here, this is 180 grit, Dinan grit, and I'm just gonna put that on plate. I do it just by hand. There's little spreaders, there's all kinds of stuff. This is just the way I do it. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to completely cover this plate with grit. And grit's cheap, right? So I'll even make 2 passes on this just to make sure I got plenty of grit. Once I get my grit on there, I'm moving on to, this is just a piece of a clipboard that I've cut. I got a bunch of these. Put a little piece of grip tape on the back of it so I can hold it in my hand. And all I'm gonna do now is I'm going to push this grit down into the plate. A lot of pressure pushing down in a circular motion. And I'm just trying to get this grit pushed in place and held in place by this oil on top of the plate. I'm just trying to get it down into the groove as best I can. See, I'm working the excess off into my little catch strap there. And when I get done doing this, what we're going to end up with is a solid, grayish looking surface. And that's it, man. That plate is now dressed. I'm going to turn it on halfway to 30 hertz. I'm now going to bed this grit into the plate. What I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a gold number 10 blade and I'm going to put it on a magnet. I'll turn the upper lights off over here so you can see this spark in this. But what I'm going to do now is at half speed, I'm going to start from the inside and I'm going to push this plate or this blade down into the plate, knock off any extra grit that's on top, and bed, what we call bed the grit into the plate, so that it's kind of held in place by the oil and hopefully mechanically a little bit. So here's how we go. I'm just going to start in the middle. I'll push out a couple times. Now I've got a full smart pattern. My plate is dressed. I'm going to go back on with my my cover to stop throwing stuff everywhere, and I'm going to get to sharpening. But that right there is the procedure for cleaning and then reapplying grit and oil and bedding that grit down into the plate. That's my procedure. I'm sure there's 100 different ones out there, but that's how I go about it. And I do it about 10, 15 times a day, depending on how many blades I have. But that is the procedure from start to finish.